the Spurs are coming off an 11-game win streak. This loss snapped it, obviously. And throughout the 11-game win streak, Wemby hasn't been his best offensively. Now, Riv, what did you see from the Spurs that you felt like could be a weakness long-term? From the team, from Wemby, like, how do you feel about it? Because Wembanyama and the Spurs are winning a lot. And do you feel like they have the requisite offense to actually make a deep playoff run, or do you think that it's going to hold them back?
Because you sent us a text that I felt.
What's it?
I felt it. You said, what does Fox do?
Yeah, no.
He's averaging 14 points since the All-Star break.
Yeah, it's like another.
He's not doing that.
It feels like when big games happen, like I'm steady looking for Fox. Like, hey, you're getting paid $37 million. Where is Fox?
I was infuriated watching that game yesterday.
And it's a lot of what me and Joel were talking about when we talk about the Fox versus Jamal conversation where, yeah, Fox is taking more jumpers now and maybe the numbers might favor him being more consistent or statistically good at it. But it just feels like it's too jumper reliant. And he's not, for me, a consistent jump shooter where you're like, you're living with Fox jumpers. And I think things that can hurt him are the lack of consistent jump shooting from their star players, specifically their backcourt, which is Stephon Castle, who hasn't been efficient in the NBA. Yeah. And then with Fox, who's not an efficient jump shooter, out the mid range he has been, but even then, his best is a downhill player, and even then he hasn't been great at that in these big time games. And then if Wemby's not playing well offensively either as a scorer, you're kind of sitting there like, all right, well, shit, what do we have? Are we going to rely on Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson? Like, with all due respect, I know they've been playing well, but you need your big three to show up. You need guys like Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle and Fox to show up. And I think this matchup, granted, they were coming off an 11-game win streak.
They could lose a game.
It's just unfortunate that it was just a really disappointing loss where it just seemed like there was no effort shown from anyone not named. It just
seemed
Wemby.
like the end of a streak. It seemed like the end of a streak.
Early afternoon game, maybe.
Early afternoon game.
Maybe, but like Vassell wasn't present. I didn't see much from Fox, nothing from Castle. Yeah. Keldon really didn't feel like it. I felt a lot left on the bone from San Antonio.
For sure. And that's why San Antonio is a tricky team to evaluate because like these guys have never been in the big moments outside of Fox. So what are you gonna really get when the lights are bright? And I don't think the lights were super bright in New York as opposed to Detroit where they were playing on the road and that was a big time game. I feel like that, and even that game, Fox didn't play that well. You know what I'm saying? Wemby as a scorer didn't play that well. But Vassell was able to step up and stuff like that. This one, nobody was able to step up. So it's just getting through those loopholes as a young team throughout the regular season. I still feel like the difference that's going to be between them, OKC, them, Denver, and I know people are probably going to bring them in the comments, San Antonio fans, or calling me a hater now. I'm very confused at that. But
are you a Spurs hater?
No, I feel like I've said these are the three best teams in the league.
You've been pretty consistent on the Spurs.
Yeah, and I think people are like, they're going to bring up OKC being down 3-1 in the regular season series. I don't think that matters too much personally. But because I've seen teams, like I've seen the Miami Heat with LeBron be down 2-1 or 3-1 to the Chicago Bulls in the regular season. Playoff something different. I've seen Golden State in 2022 be down in the regular season series to every team they beat in the playoffs. So I don't think that matters too much. But I think the experience, maybe the consistent jump shooting from other teams. But I think San Antonio is still really good. I just think they eventually had to lose, and New York caught them at a good time.
So I'm looking at De'Aaron Fox's drives over the past 4 seasons, and it was 17, 16, 15, and now this year's at 12. This is the lowest amount of drives that he's going for in his career. He's not driving the ball as often as he did before. I don't think it's necessarily a San Antonio spacing problem. I do think that Castle obviously is not the best three-point shooter, but Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Wemby in the starting lineup, I think like that's requisite spacing enabled for you to attack. But Fox hasn't played that way, and he really hasn't played that way since the playoff appearance that the Kings had. The beam year was the last year he really was that downhill attacking force. From that year on, he's become more jump shot reliant. I think his mid-range jumper is really good, but the three-point jumper is very sporadic. And they need him to play better. I think it's also the role that he's in San Antonio. It's much different. But if the Spurs want to make a deep playoff run, he's the guy that's going to have to turn up because it's not like he doesn't have it in his game. we saw that when Wemby was out with an injury, De'Aaron Fox was the one carrying the Spurs. He was the one averaging the most points. He was averaging 26 a night and leading them to victories. So it's not like he doesn't have that. I just think that now it kind of changes with the having so many guards, having so many ball handlers, and him just feeling like he has to be more of a complimentary player. But he has to understand that he's one of the guys on the team too. And it's him and Wemby for now. Dylan Harper's on his way. Stephon Castle still has some ways to go, I think, as a ball handler and a consistent offensive player. Like right now, it is Wemby and Fox, and those two have to show up offensively every night. And Fox hasn't done it since the All-Star break, and Wemby has had some really bad shooting performances even during this win streak. Like before this Knicks game, he had maybe 3 to 4 pretty terrible offensive shooting split games in a row, but the defense is very impactful where it really doesn't even feel like it's a big deal. Like the win against Toronto, he didn't shoot the best, but he blocked every shot. He deterred attempts at the rim, and he was just all over the floor. Like he was by far the most impactful player in that game, even with the bad shooting splits, which I think makes it hard to kind of rank him amongst a hierarchy because there's an exception with him being so uniquely talented, but then there's also like this other side of the coin where there's a lot of players that have accomplished things already that he just hasn't accomplished yet. And they're more refined offensive players.
The issue is that his floor is the best defender in the world. That's why. That's why you have to have him at that table, for me personally. And where I'm not going to disagree with you too much. I mean, post All-Star break, it's been evident. The jump shot has not been where it was prior to the All-Star break. Prior to the All-Star break, you're shooting damn near 37% from three. Following, I think it's under 20. He's just really been in a really bad slump, and it's brought down his season average to under 35% from three. It's that, again, on those games that you're mentioning where he's struggling to shoot the basketball, and that's a fact, he's still giving you the best defense in the world. And the best of the best in our league are not anywhere close to the defender that he is. And offensively, one will argue that, or at least some of the conversation we had prior to shows that some don't believe that he may not be a top 10 offensive player in the game. Now, the issue is whether that's fact or fiction. I think that he is a top 10 scorer or a top 10 offensive player in the league, but probably closer to 10 than he is to one, very obvious.
How many of those guys can have as bad of a game as he does offensively and his team win the game?
So I say that to say, because his defense is so great, his defense is part of them winning the ball game more often than not. That's the truth. These other players don't provide nowhere near that level of defensive impact, which is why he's one of the few players in NBA history that their defense is so impactful. While again, he is nowhere near the level of offensive player that Jokic is. That'd be far for me to say anything of that sort. He is closer to 10 than he is to 1. That's the truth. The top guys are nowhere near the level of defender he is. And his defense wins games. And it's shown multiple times this season.
I think he's closer to 15 than 1.
Okay. I mean, even still. That's not a bad, like, I don't take that in a negative way because I think Nikola Jokic, where he is the best offensive player in the league. He is the best offensive player in the league. He is not a top 50 defender in the game.
Top 200,
like
maybe.
the offensive players that I think are better than Wemby are Jokic, I think Luka, I think Shea.
All good names.
I think Giannis.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Cade Cunningham. I think he's a better offensive player. Jalen Brunson is a bit of an argument.
Okay. Last two names.
But Cade rounds out the 5, correct?
Cade is...
Let's just hear his list first.
I will hear you out. I'm just going to hear your names.
Healthy Tyrese Halliburton.
Okay.
Fine.
Jason Tatum.
Okay.
I think there's a real argument for Kevin Durant.
Tatum.
Let's hear him first. That's
KD. Okay.
I think there's an argument as well for... This is a stretch and it's not in order, but I think there's an argument for James Harden still.
Okay, let's just hear
I think James Harden is still one of the best offensive players in basketball.
Okay, can you say Donovan Mitchell before James Harden?
Donovan Mitchell.
I haven't heard Steph yet either.
Yeah, so Donovan Mitchell, Steph Curry, Tyrese Maxey,
Embiid,
yeah.
Joel Embiid when healthy.
Comfortably.
That's like 11 names.
Ant.
12.
Ant-Man, 12.
Here we go.
This is a scorching one.
Here we go.
LaMelo Ball. I think LaMelo Ball might be a better offensive player than him, too.
Pulling at heartstrings. I don't know if I agree.
That is crazy.
I don't know if I agree. You didn't say Jaylen Brown yet either, so
That's another one.
But I don't agree. But I'm just saying like that's another
14.
name that I would have said.
And then Jalen Brunson was one of them as well.
He was added to the 14. I'm just counting your names. That was 14.
I don't know. A lot of these names are debatable. A lot. Even like this year's version of Jalen Brunson, like
Devin Booker. Like when you take into account Kawhi Leonard. Oh yeah. He might be closer to 20 than 15.
He was named 16.
No, but a lot of your names.
Five of them, I think he was arguing against. You skipped over some easy ones and then got into
correct. You got into the debatables.
I think you had 8 good ones.
I agree. I agree.
10 honestly.
Oh, okay.
Like because what was Jokic, Luka, Shea, Giannis, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, Kawhi Leonard,
Embiid.
Anthony Edwards.
What? Come on, what do you mean?
So, come on.
Come on.
He's getting better every year.
I mean,
he's a more efficient shooter for sure.
By far.
Like as a scorer,
well,
playmaking.
By far, he's a better 3-point shooter.
He's a better mid-range shooter, I think.
Okay, he's a better shooter. Shooter in general.
I think he's just as good at the rim.
Just as good as no.
Donovan Mitchell would also be another one that.
Donovan is the obvious. That I think this season he's kind of put a.
And then I didn't mention Cade in that. I think either.
I think
is Cade definitive?
Yeah, I think he's a much better playmaker.
I think Cade is.
So who's a better offensive player, Tatum or Cade?
Tatum's a better scorer.
Okay, I agree, but I'm asking
offense. A tick below, maybe 2 ticks below is a playmaker.
Because I think Tatum better offensive player than Cade. I think so Tatum is the one that I would be like, yes, I think he's a better offensive player than Wemby.
Tatum's not playing this year. I guess that's why.
Fair, but I also think like I think Tatum. I'm like, all right, Wemby had his best day.
His best days with most of these guys.
Correct.
You know what
I mean that's.
Are we counting these guys at their best days too?
Yes, which is why I say
I
can't help but think at Wemby's best day, he's closer to 1 than he is to 15.
I think
his best day. First 7 guys.
You're measuring him against all these other guys' best days. I don't think Wemby and his best offensively is better than Devin Booker offensively at his best.
I don't agree with that.
It's a comfortable, better mid-range shooter.
No, for sure. Everything shooting that I don't. What is it comfortably?
No, comfortably they're the same at the rim.
What is it?
Victor's 74, Ant 72.
Jeez. Ant being 72 is fucking insane.
He's like
Ant is an all-time scorer.
2 inches shorter.
He's going to be in this conversation.
That's a whole
that we mentioned with Shea earlier. Ant's going to be in that conversation.
Yeah.
72?
Yeah.
72.
Yeah.
Damn.
That shit nuts.
I'm sorry. That shit has my mind fucked up.
And both of their playmaking is mid.
Yeah, neither's great.
So we're just factoring this.
I think that Ant's playmaking is probably a little bit better than Wemby's.
Everything's
close.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
They were throwing doubles at him
It's not moving me in any argument.
Fucking Rudy had to make decisions. He made a couple good decisions. Not gonna lie.
I mean, I think that but what we said earlier was factual about Wemby is that like the offense cannot be top of the league, great, elite, but the defense makes up for a lot of it. So
the floor is nuts, man.
The floor is insane.
That's why
He's the best in the world.
I mean, the floor is what we're seeing, probably.
Yes, literally.
Better.
Like when we see him develop his offensive game more and become he's already dominant force, but when he becomes a better playmaker, he becomes a better shooter from all levels.
What do you think his ceiling is as a playmaker? Because to me, that's what unlocks him becoming just the absolute. He could do everything.
I think it's more the jump shooting, the consistent jump shooting.
Yeah.
I think if he unlocks that, because bro, he's 7'6".
I think a realistic reaching point for Wemby as a playmaker is the last time we saw Joel Embiid fully healthy.
Okay.
Because that was a big weakness in his game, and he developed that to where it wasn't like an elite strength, but it was
pretty damn good,
solid. Yeah. Like it was definitely far from a liability, and that was when Nick Nurse first got there, and he just was so much more comfortable as a passer. I think that's like a realistic bar. I don't want to go here and say like, yo, Wemby could just like develop. It's like one of the greatest playmakers ever.
When Wemby's hitting threes, bro, he's the most unguardable player in the game. When he's hitting threes, he's unstoppable.
There's a few guys up there.
Which is why my initial statement was, when he's at his best offensively.
At his best offensively.
Is him
honestly,
hitting
we're
threes.
We're just talking about scoring. So let's just.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
at his best as a scorer, him or Kawhi?
Wemby.
Right now?
I mean, and you're talking to me, who I've been singing Kawhi's praises more than maybe 99% of the world.
Like, that's just Wemby hitting threes.
That's really it. Because it's 74% at the rim.
Is like you're saying on his best day. If you're saying on any day, it's Kawhi.
Okay, I agree.
I'm saying as like what we've seen this year.
Thank you.
I'm thinking more like this year at their best, Kawhi's easily been a better scorer.